Oh, everyone. Oh my goodness, you will not believe. And forgive me for being in such a sweat and a flap. I'm just having a bit of a moment here. Let me just turn my camera. Let me just turn my camera there. First of all, can everyone hear me? And first of all, also as well, apologies for being late and being sweaty. Let me just explain. As you know, I've moved forward my time slot here uh, for these lives because I'm going to take a little break. I'm going to take a little break for the from creating the lives on Wednesdays. I'm probably still producing. Oh, great! You can hear me. I'll still produce videos and different stuff like that, but it may not necessarily be live ones for now. I moved everything forward, as you know, to 9 o'clock, and thank you guys for being here. And I went to a networking event with friends and stuff like that, and I was aware of the time. And we ordered food, and we had an hour. Yeah, I had an hour. The food took 50, basically 45 minutes to arrive. Can you believe it? And I was like, oh my God, what am I going to do? I have a show. I need to. This networking event was only around the corner, by the way. So I have sprinted back from that event, managed to wolf down my food. I'm in a massive sweat and it's pouring with rain outside. And it's just all gone a bit, it's all gone a bit pear-shaped. But let me just move myself here. Thank you so much for joining me here. So I've got my fan on. I'm actually going to turn the temperature up. I'm going to do the show. Forgive me as I kind of like try and get myself cool. And then my friend said I should go back to the event. So because the event doesn't finish until 11. Anyway, so who do we have in the house? Thank you so much. Hogarth, the Joys of England. Mark, hello, Mark is saying, oh my goodness. Electrostorm saying, thought you forgot us. No, of course, I can never forget you guys. Let's see who else is in the house. Who do we have? We've got Lucky McLucky, Melda. Who else do we have? Angelina E. Why does Bannon always look homeless? And that he likes to drink too much, perhaps. Yes. Because today, let's see who else. We've got Donna Newhouse, who's in, and of course, I'll be reading out to you guys as well. So again, thanks so much for joining me. Now, as you know, this show is about Steve Bannon. And we have to talk about Steve Bannon. Now, what I would say is, now bear in mind, I've been busy today, ironically, even though it's a Wednesday, I've been busy with consultations and all of that kind of stuff, getting charts ready. I've got Steve Bannon's chart behind us here, and of course, the obligatory one with the details and the drishti. Oh, my eyes are a bit red. Oh my God, this is ridiculous. Anyway, there we are, YouTube, live TV. And we're going to be talking about this guy. And what I can say just from this chart, and you guys will also appreciate this as well, this guy is a piece of work. And don't worry, my eyesight's absolutely fine. It has returned. It is basically, once the Mercury retrograde ended, it went back to perfect. But I have literally been running in the rain. So they're not looking, not looking so peaky now, but whatever. I can see everyone and everything absolutely fine. Now, from what I understand, remember I'm here in the UK, from what I understand, where it is, this guy, he is basically going to be held in criminal contempt. Isn't that correct? Criminal contempt. I don't know yet if they have voted to have they actually voted for him to actually be called in? If you guys could let me know in the comments. Obviously, usually I would know. Forgive me. It has been busy, but if someone could tell me in the comments if they've actually voted to criminally basically get him to appear in court. Did it? So Joni S is saying, I believe they did vote. Electra Storm is saying House votes on Thursday, I think. Okay, so there's a little bit of time. There is a little bit of time. So let's see how predictive it's going to be with this chart. So let's get stuck in. Let's get stuck in after all of my flapping around and all of that various different kind of stuff. I'll say so. Susan Neeson is saying voting on Thursday as well. Excellent. Okay. Tomorrow it goes to Garland's desk. That's what George Bailey has said. Right, I see. So Merrick Garland, who, you know, I'm kind of like, do you remember I did that Biden Merrick Garland video? And I was like, I'm not sure about him. Just in a little sidetrack about Garland. Oh, there's over 100 of you now just joining in. Thank you so much. In a little side note about Garland, do you remember I said I wasn't sure about him with that Rahu in the 8th house? And he was saying apparently that he is worried if they come down too hard on the insurrectionists, that could cause them to be more radicalized. Just putting that there, just putting that there. Knowledge Equips saying, yes, committee voted last night to refer to DOJ. Brilliant. Hello, Marjorie Lara in there. Okay. Let's start the show. Let's start the show. All right. We all know this guy. We all know this guy, Steve Bannon, who is, what can we say? My nickname for him, if I was going to give him a nickname, I would say he is like the Rasputin of the far right. What do you reckon? And I would also say as well at the top of this show, for entertainment purposes only, this is only my opinion based on the astrology that I see. But in terms of my little nickname, and I think that's fair to say, because we know he does support the far right. That's what he's all about. So I'm saying he's that Rasputin. He's Steve Bannon is like that guru kind of character. Do you know what I mean? He's a Svengali. A lot of this stuff is his brainchild. Joni S saying committee unanimously passed. Let's put that up on the screen. The committee unanimously passed a criminal contempt report that outlined efforts to get Bannon to comply with its subpoena and his failure to do so. All right, there we are. There we are. Now, let's cover the basics. As we know, we'll go for the basics and then we'll get stuck in. Okay, so Steve Bannon was born on the 27th of November, 1953. 1953. And he was born in Norfolk, Virginia. Now, there is no kind of registered official birth time for Steve Bannon. However, as you know, when it comes to people that work in politics and etc. and that kind of stuff, one of the best times to use is 12 midday, and this applies very well for him. Let me just turn down my light a little bit. I think there's a little bit of glare here. Let's just, yeah, just down a fraction, and I'll turn this up a little bit so you can see my colorful ceiling, which you guys really appreciate. I really like that. Let's put that there. Change the camera a little bit. So I use 12 midday, which is the standard, and this one works for him perfectly. So if I move the chart a bit closer so that you guys can see, let's do another little camera adjust slightly again. Forgive the little adjustments. Obviously, this stuff would have normally been done in advance. So what do? We look at the first house. Always look at the first house. Whenever you're looking at a chart, and you want an idea of someone's personality or anything like that, the first house will give a lot of clues. Now, what I've done is I just let go of the tape, and I've actually held this one up with a bit of blue tack. I'm getting my Scotch tape coming delivery tomorrow, so I had to make do. And here, as you can see Shiva, but here, what's the first house? The first house deals with the top of the head, physical body, constitution, health, personality, innate inspirations, first impressions, appearance, character, and birth into this world. And it is a Kendra and a trine, which basically means it is immensely powerful, the first house. The first house essentially represents us and our physical body. It also represents the top of the head. Yeah, and basically the thinking apparatus. It's like a birth in a way. Let me just turn my fan a little bit because I'm cooling down and it's blowing things around. So if you imagine first house, say like it's Aries, that is the birth in the chart, and then all the body parts come out. They're in that kind of order. So if this is the top of the head, Pisces represents the feet. Now, the first house is an angle and a trine, so whatever's in the first house is going to have a big effect. And guess what? Look what he's got here in the first house. You'll see it's Rahu. Remember, Rahu looks like the headphones. And what is Rahu? Now, the good thing about Rahu, because remember, like all the planets, they manifest their energy from highest vibration down to lowest vibration simultaneously. And this is where the aspect of free will comes in, because it all depends on how we engage with that energy. So we say that's how we engage with that energy. And all the planets have their good side and their bad sides. Now the nodes of the moon are malefics, yeah, which means they're cruel, yeah. And the nodes of the moon are very unpredictable. Remember that, very unpredictable. And here, Steve Bannon has got gobble gobble in the first house. Now, that's not always necessarily a bad thing. Yeah, it's not necessarily a bad thing at all. There are many people, particularly prominent people, who have Rahu in the first house, and that's fine. But in this context, what vibration are they engaging in that energy? How are they using that energy of Rahu? Because as you guys would remember, you would have seen a few weeks ago, I did Diane's tarot. Remember, I did her chart. She's got Rahu in the first house as well, with Uranus, which modifies it. So Rahu is characters, people that are unique, people that stand out in some kind of way. Yeah. And particularly when people manifest the higher energy, it can be almost an otherworldly spirituality. But what if someone is going into the shadow? Dung, 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 which certainly Steve Bannon is. The shadow, the deep shadow of Rahu is lying. Yeah. Rahu's all about shortcuts. Yeah. Rahu is all about shortcuts and this, that, and the other. Rahu is a very, very interesting and powerful nodal axis. But here, in the case of Steve Bannon, what if we think what's one of the things that he's helped to manufacture and disseminate throughout America? The big lie. Quite literally, isn't it? It's quite literally the big lie. Let's see what some of the comments are here before I continue. So we've got Susan Neeson. We've got Chase Zamo, Justin's mom, and all that kind of stuff. Let me know, guys, your opinions as well as I divulge this information. So I find it very interesting that he's got Rahu, and the shadow of Rahu can be mistruths and stuff like that. And he's got that in the first house in an earth sign. But it's not just any earth sign. Look, it's Capricorn. Capricorn is a sign of what? Government, pressure, top-down structures. And one of the things that I made in the notes, I didn't have a chance to finish off my notes, but don't worry, we'll just let rip. But on the first house, this is what I wrote. There's 150 of you now. Wow, amazing. Thank you. First house, Rahu in the first house in Uttara Ashada Nakshatra, which is all about victories, by the way. It's about the latter victory. So Bannon is essentially an intelligent liar. Yeah, he is intelligent. And again, for entertainment purposes only, we know he's not dumb. But one that feels he is defending a higher truth. Isn't that interesting? Because Uttara Ashada is about seeking the truth in some way. It's about righteousness. Yeah. So he feels like he's defending a higher truth, but it's about hierarchy, top-down power, and the top of the pyramid. So here, Capricorn as a sign deals with structures. It deals with government. It deals with hierarchies, orders, rules, all of that kind of stuff. The Tara Ashada is about the latter victory, but it's about righteousness and stuff like that. So here we've got someone who has this Rahu influence, gobble gobble, who's going in for the darker energy, and he thinks he's right. Yeah. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? MC Elrod is saying he's a right-wing conspirator. Yeah, yeah, he is. He's gone in for that dark energy of Rahu. The nodes of the moon are dark anyway. Now, what we need to remember, everyone has got the nodes of the moon in their chart. Everyone, you know, we all have it. So I'm not trying to say that anyone that's got Rahu in the first house is automatically going to be that way. No, of course not, because we all have a Rahu and a Ketu somewhere. I'm just going to double check this. Forgive me as I do a little bit of maintenance here, just to make sure that this thingy bob stays up. I don't want stuff blowing and falling down. But we already know that Bannon is what? He's a dark character, isn't he? Now, what we need to understand is Rahu is very intelligent. Rahu was the one that worked out, he stole the liquid of immortality because he worked out that the other people that he was with were not getting the liquid, they were getting water. Yeah. He noticed that the other planets, the grahas, you know, Saturn, Jupiter, you know, all that lot, when they were getting this immortality, they were glowing. And he noticed the other ones didn't glow. So he swapped sides and he changed his character. So there is an element of character of Rahu of change. Sometimes it can even deal with illusions, mystery, yeah, adaptability, but also as well has got a lot to do with shortcuts. Rahu is like the snakes and ladders in a way. He's a little bit like that. So Bannon has this kind of intelligence there, and it's there in this earth sign, but he's turning to the dark side of it, turning to the dark side. When we think of sort of like the higher energies, you know, then we can think of, you know, people like Diane or very spiritual people that go to that. They are able to reach those other realms. Yeah, that's also what Rahu's about. But the shadow is about power and it's about control. Yeah, all of that stuff. So we can see, boom, there it is in his chart. So we see here, just so you can see, there is Rahu in the first house giving the drishti, yeah, to all these different places. All right, so let's move around to the next house. And when we look over here, so when we look at the sixth house, now what's the sixth house? The sixth house is a house of what? Enemies, yeah? Enemies, conflicts, intrigues, but it can also deal with health and routines, fitness, and all that kind of stuff. Bronx Sage is saying, when was Bannon ever on the right side? Probably never. Yeah. I mean, I don't want to be, you know, because no one is completely and entirely dark. Yeah. I don't want this to be, I want this to be educational. But I also, as well, there are some people whose charts, you know, are just a bit more darker than others, but it's always a choice. Yeah, it's always a choice. We always have a choice if we're going to go to the dark side or not. And I think, you know, we all know where Bannon has gone. So if we look, let me just do a double tap here just so that I can get that clear. So let's look at his sixth house. Health, obstacles, overcoming obstacles. It deals with enemies, litigation, stuff like that, litigation. And here he's got Jupiter and Uranus in the sign of Gemini. Now, this is actually a very tricky combination. What's this? Patricia Franzino. Bannon's ex-wife had him charged with domestic violence. Wow, domestic violence. You know what? That does show up in his chart, and we'll go there. Yeah, when we look at his eighth house. But let's talk about the sixth. So the sixth house is about litigations, conflicts, health, etc. And for him, being a Capricorn ascendant, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, Gemini falls into the sixth house. Now, this can actually be one of the tricky aspects about being a Capricorn ascendant, which is that Capricorns can often end up in court, in litigation, and you know stuff like that, or have things to do with contentious arguments of certain kinds, because after all, Gemini is an intellectual sign. Yeah, it's an intellectual sign. Now, Jupiter does not consider Mercury to be a friend. Yeah, and remember I was talking about those friendships. Let's just remind ourselves. Jupiter, Sun, Moon, and Mars are all friends, and they all do well in each other's signs. Saturn, balloon popper, Mercury, and Venus, they're all friends, and they all do well in each other's signs. And the nodes of the moon, again, are the wild cards. Yeah, they're unpredictable. So here, planet Jupiter, although Mercury is neutral in the sense to Jupiter, so when you see Mercury in the signs of Sagittarius, for example, he's all right in there. But he is debilitated in Pisces, which is a sign of Jupiter. But when Jupiter is in the sign of Mercury, it's a bit of an issue because they have a different vibe. Jupiter is about ideology. Jupiter is about spirituality. Jupiter is about the big picture. Jupiter is about concepts, philosophies, ideas of all kinds. Susan Nason is saying he was involved with Cambridge Analytica. Isn't that interesting? Because what is Gemini? Gemini is what? Media. Gemini represents media of all kinds, emails, social media, campaigning. It's the sign of conversation. This right now, what we're doing right now is very Gemini. Yeah, it's very Mercury, very mercurial. So here, when we look here, this Jupiter is really not at his best. Yeah, it's not at his best. And what it can do is it can actually bring in a bit of cynicism to Jupiter, believe it or not, can bring in a bit of cynicism. Because here Jupiter can't quite express his full ideals. But what it does do, though, it increases the intelligence. Because Jupiter is what? Guru. The Sanskrit name for Jupiter is Guru. But look, Uranus is there. What is Uranus? Sudden shocks and surprises, controversies. Uranus is the planet of not being conventional. It's unconventional. It's a surprising planet. So here you've got Bannon, who's got the Jupiter Guru, with Uranus. So that means kind of a shocking philosophy or ideology. Let's see, Yanti. Hello, Yanti. Hi, Hogarth. Some people say he's very smart. Where do you see that in his natal chart? That's what we're discussing right now. Hello, Azealia. So here, this is where a lot of this intelligence is lying. We need to understand. Now, look, every sign is intelligent. Yeah, every sign has its own strengths and weaknesses, but intelligence, etc. But Gemini and Aquarius are intelligent signs. Anyone who's got planets there, they're going to have a little bit extra drops of because think about it. Gemini is an air sign. Air signs are about communication. Gemini is also mutable, so it's very adaptable. So it's this kind of mutable air. Let me think. Wait a minute. Was it cardinal air? Oh my God, my brain's just gone blank. Let me just think here. Should be mutable air. Fixed air is Aquarius. Libra is cardinal. Yeah, mutable air. Sorry, I had to think for a moment there. So it's very adaptable. But remember as well, what is the shadow of Mercury? We think Mercury rules Gemini and Virgo. The shadow of Mercury is the trickster. It's the trickster. So here you've got the Guru who's got this energy. So it gives a flair for ideas and concepts of all kinds. Yeah, because Jupiter is an intelligent planet after all. Gemini is an intelligent sign. But here we see as well, because of the effect of Uranus, there's this radicalism there. There is the wanting to shock. There is the unconventional aspects, the eccentricities. It also shows as well that this is someone that can, what's it? Catherine Jackson saying, I'm starting to believe that you like to live on the edge. Not necessarily, but it's basically my food took so long to arrive, and it was going to be the case of like, can I just get in the doggy bag and just take it away? And just as I was about to leave, it did arrive. So I wolfed it down and I sprinted it over. So I like variety, maybe not necessarily living on the edge, but you know, variety is the spice of life after all. But anyway, going back to Bannon. So we see here someone who's into ideas and concepts, but they're radical, they're unusual, and they're eccentric. But they're also very versatile and very clever at messaging. Gemini is all about messaging. If we think planet Mercury is what? The messenger of the gods. Yeah. So here, when you've got Guru in Gemini, it makes someone a very clever talker. And that can be good if it's being used for good. But what if someone is kind of going on the dark side? Yeah. Then it can become what? Very manipulative, or saying things for the sake of saying things. This is a person that enjoys the argument for its own sake. And also as well, it's in the nakshatra. His Jupiter is in the nakshatra, which is called Mrigashira, which is the search for beauty. So what it means is for him, even though, you know, he's supporting the far right, but for him, there's some ideas that really appeal about the far right. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much, Radine Philip, for becoming a new member. I really appreciate that. So here we've got someone who's intelligent and radical and unusual and eccentric, but they also think some of, like, because Bannon deals with the far right, he thinks some of those ideas are actually quite beautiful. Can you believe it? Yeah, think about that. Think about that. And again, like I said, for entertainment purposes only, I can't, obviously in a way I'm almost putting words into this man's mouth. But that's essentially what it means. You know, I do hundreds of consultations, and there's always that connotation there. When Jupiter is in Gemini, it's always about ideas, but this is someone who feeds off ideas. Yeah. It's also that element too, where he thinks that mind is a bit, it's a bit sketch. Anyway, let's move to the 7th house. We look at the 7th house. Now, when Rahu is in the 1st house, it means Ketu is always going to be in the 7th. Yeah, they're always opposite. There we go. Opposite each other. Capricorn ascendant with Rahu there means Ketu is in the 7th. And it's in the sign of Cancer. Now, this is quite interesting. What this does is, when you have Ketu in a water house, it can increase the intuition. Yeah, and you're probably thinking, oh my God, Hoagie, don't tell us that. You know, he's a scoundrel. You know, he's a nasty guy, you know, blah, blah, blah. What we also need to understand is that people with wicked streaks also have intuition as well. It's part of the reason why they're so effective. Here, now, what is the sign of Cancer? Cancer deals with what? Home and homeland. So when we look at this here, Bannon has this sort of uncanny instinct, yeah, because we know he's using his intelligence darkly. He's got this instinct for being able to feel out people in the homeland. Oh, just gone to 200. Thank you so much, everyone. People in the homeland that sort of sympathize with his ideas, yeah? It's like the forked tongue, yeah? It's like that. Like Hannibal Lecter, you know, in a way, he's able to kind of, you know, on a more serious note, he's able to kind of tune in on that level, but it's kind of like uncanny, yeah? It's kind of uncanny. So there's that element there. I'm just looking at some of the comments here. Sharon Saipi, so nice to see you. Catherine Bennett. Breaking news, they think they found Brian Laundrie's body. Oh, ooh. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? I know we're taking a divergence here, but I've just seen that in the comments. Let's just put that there. Thanks so much, Catherine Bennett, for sharing that news. Isn't it interesting? Do you remember the read that we did? I think was it 3 weeks back now? You remember when we did that little read on him, and we were like, doesn't look good, you know, the life force and all of that kind of stuff. Maybe that's come true. If anyone can remember, sorry, what we said about Brian Laundrie a few weeks ago, I'm going to have to look at that and maybe attach that video in the description below when I have time, and then we can look back at that, because we did discuss that. You know, it's hard to know what to say. It's you know, it's difficult. Let's just say it's difficult, and particularly here, I'm in the UK. Do you know what I mean? I don't want to kind of foist my opinion too much, but thanks for sharing that that news with us, Catherine. Hopefully it's not his body, but it wouldn't surprise me if it was. And whatever happened, you know, a death is a death as well. So it's a real tragedy, isn't it? The whole thing is very tragic, very tragic. Yeah, Azealia, yeah, the thing's a tragic affair. I agree with you. Absolutely, absolutely. Only partial remains were found. Oh my goodness. Oh, do you know what that? Do you remember? Oh, okay, here we go. Here we are. Okay. Do you remember when I was reading on it and I said, if he is in, I don't know, obviously I don't know where he was discovered, if it was in Florida or if he was in Appalachians or whatever. But do you remember I was saying, like, that is a difficult place to be. There's lots of alligators, animals, and all sorts. Anyway, look, I'm getting a bit distracted, forgive me. So, but that was breaking news, folks. You can, well, obviously when people catch up, but this is a live show. Back to Bannon, and then what we can do is we'll pull some cards on Bannon and maybe some cards on Brian Laundrie. How about that? Yeah, how about that? Okay, let's look at his 8th house. Now we know that 8th house is what? Sex, death, and rock and roll. Yeah, sex, death, and rock and roll. And the 8th house is not an easy house at the best of times, but it does have its good sides. The 8th house deals with transformation. It deals with transmutation. It deals with astrology. It deals with psychology. It deals with the hidden. It deals with the occult. Yeah. But also as well, it deals with things that go bump in the night. It can also deal with things like espionage. It deals with secrecy. It can even deal with murder. Yeah. Sudden shocks and surprises as well. The 8th house can be very shocking. Thank you, Juno, saying hello to everyone. Here we are, everyone in the chat. It can be very shocking. So when we look here, for me, this house, yeah, this house is the most significant. And in fact, I'm even going to do this in hot pink. Loud, we're loud. And the reason why I'm doing that is because there is something very essential going on with this house. Now, the 8th house, let's just remind ourselves, I've read it so many times, but let's just do it. Let's give it an old hee-ho. So it deals with sex, death, and rock and roll. It deals with the private parts. It deals with traumas. It deals with transformation, wills, surrenders, life assurance, addictions, psychology, disgrace, metaphysics, inheritance, bankruptcy. It deals with shamans, money from others. Remember that build the wall thing? Remember that? Money from others, fundraising, astrology, life force, taxes, and corruption. All of this sounding familiar? And look what planets he's got in there. He's got the moon, yeah? And moon represents what? The mind overall. The moon is our instinctive habits, things we do naturally without even thinking about it, yeah? The moon represents our past, childhood, growing up. I always say if the moon is behaving well, then she's like the season of Thanksgiving. But if the moon is behaving badly, she's like Halloween, yeah? Here, we've got the moon in the 8th house, but it's strong. It is strong, but it's in the 8th house. This is tricky for any planet. The only planet that picks up strength in the 8th house is Mercury. Yeah, remember that. Or Ketu. Ketu does very well in the 8th house as well, because it's his natural locale in a kind of way. But we need to also look here. We see Pluto is with the moon. This is very intense. Pluto represents the 8th house on his own. So it's not only is it the 8th house, it's the moon plus Pluto in the 8th house, which also represents the 8th house on its own. So you can imagine it's full of intrigues, dark thoughts. Pluto is about the dark night of the soul, but it's all things underground. And the light side, the light side of Pluto, which is not easy to find, the light side of Pluto is that transformation, going beyond otherworldly powers, X-Men powers, when we embrace our shadow. But the shadow of Pluto is extremely dark. Here, Pluto represents things like genocide, sexual abuse, even, unfortunately, abuses of power of all kinds. This is where the real deep, dark, and nitty-gritty stuff, the conspiracy theories, it can represent some of the worst of what humanity is capable of. And here, there's even more. There's even more, folks. You see here, I've put this red star. You may not be able to see it, but there's a red star here. Here we are. There it is, that star. Now, that star is Regulus. Yeah, very important star, very powerful star. Regulus is known as the star of kings. And some of you must be like, oh, shut up, Hokie, he's not a king. No, that's not what I'm saying. oh my goodness. Lucky McLucky, thanks so much. I have another member. You guys are wonderful. You guys are wonderful. Thanks so much. As a couple of you have joined, forgive me this digression. Let me just quickly say, if you become a member of my channel, I've got a 3-tier membership. The entry level is all of, like, basically, Sal, we're talking about Steve Bannon now, but I've got all my other videos. I did oh my goodness, I did Jackie Onassis the other day, and I've done Martin Luther King and all that stuff. This is where I put my videos that I can't really put on YouTube. You get access to them. There's another level which is called the Vedic Apprentice, where you can learn Vedic astrology from me as well. And I upload a video each week. And then if you go for the top tier, you each month, or every 3 weeks, I pull a name and they get a free reading consultation from me as well. So thank you so much for becoming a new member. Anyway, back to the 8th house. So we see here the mind, the moon, which represents the mind, is highly under malefic influence. Because the 8th house is a tricky house anyway, but it's Pluto. Oh my God. And it's conjunct the star Regulus. Now, Bannon's moon is at 4 degrees 55 minutes of sidereal Leo. And Regulus operates, the star Regulus goes from 4 degrees to basically 6 degrees of sidereal Leo. And I want to show it to you here. Here it is here. Here's Regulus. So here in my nakshatra reel, Regulus is around here. There it is. You know, that's literally where it is in the sky. It's not in Virgo as it is in Western astrology, but that's a whole nother debate. So it's about leadership or dealing with leaders of all kinds. Now, even though Bannon, of course, is not president, yeah, he's not president, he is a leader, yeah, he's one of the leaders of what? The far right. And here, because here we can see it's conjunct Pluto as well. So when it comes to major stars, you take them in terms of in the constellations, conjunctions, you take an orb, and now it varies, but you take an orb, which is how close it needs to be, of between 2 to 3 degrees. When a planet is within orb 2 to 3 degrees of a star, it will take on that star flavor. And here we've got the moon slap bang on that Regulus, but also as well, this Pluto is also pretty much conjunct this star as well. So it's to do with leadership, but dark leadership, dark power. Makes sense? Pluto is all about power. it even literally deals with power in the sense of like fossil fuels, nuclear power. Have you noticed that there's been an energy crisis? Yeah, Pluto deals with what? Energy. And he is in the second house of the USA chart. And what are we dealing with? Distribution systems, all of that kind of stuff, because, that's essentially what it deals with. So let's see here. Henson, at least 5 missing persons have been found. Intense focus on Gabby. Wow. Oh, at least 5 missing persons have been found. My goodness, what's going on all of this? Susan Nason is saying Bannon is a co-founder of Cambridge Analytica. My God, that wouldn't shock me at all. My goodness. So here, do you see there's Brenda C is saying Bannon, Dr. Evil. Yeah. I mean, in a way, again, for entertainment purposes only, but we need to look at this energy. And I'll tell you something else. A certain Duc Larange, yeah, guess where he has his Mars? Now remember, Duc Larange is a Leo ascendant. Leo, yeah, this is happening in Leo. Duc Larange has got Mars, if I remember correctly, at 5 degrees of Leo, which is right on top of Bannon's moon. Yeah? So it means they literally have this connection. Let me see if I can find Duc Larange's chart. Hopefully I've not unpeeled it. No, that's... is this 1 minute? No. There's Duc Larange. That's Joe Biden. I've got all these charts. There we go. Now, remember, there's his moon. There's Bannon's moon at 4 degrees 55 minutes. Remember that? Roll it up. Look at this. I got the degree slightly wrong, but it doesn't matter. There's Trump's Mars at 3 degrees 40 minutes. Their planets are on top of each other. Yeah, on top. When you are looking at relationships between people, where you compare charts, it's called synastry, as many of you will know. You look to see what planets are co-joined or opposite each other. Planets that are on top of each other show a strong affinity in some way, or some strong glue there. Isn't it interesting that Bannon has got the moon, which represents the mind, and Mars, Donald Trump's Mars, which represents war and conflict, on top of each other. They see eye to eye. It was Bannon that was feeding Trump these ideas of, insurrection, this, that, and the other. Do you remember he was caught saying that we need to sort of like kill the Biden administration like a babe in the crib, or words to those effects? I think I'm misquoting it. But do you know what I mean? Words to those effects. What imagery? What imagery? So we can see here there is an instant rapport between these two men, where in a way this conjunction, this dark alliance between the moon and Pluto is something that really fed into Duc Larange's ideology, his thoughts, his way of being. Because what's the first house? The first house is the personality, the body. Steve Bannon's Pluto and moon fall right into Trump's first house, and Trump's first house falls right into Bannon's 8th house. Can you see how that energy is going backwards and forwards? Wow. I think that's really something quite interesting. And then going around to his 9th house, and the 9th house is the house of philosophy, ideas. Yeah, deals with higher learning. So 9th house, higher learning, gurus and teachers, beliefs, and politics. Politics. Publishing. Yeah, he does a lot to do with publishing, and he's even got his own blog thing, hasn't he? Those are the law and lawmakers. Religion and fanaticism. Spirituality, maybe not so much in his case, maybe something slightly darker, you never know. Innate inspirations and education. And he's got Mars, planet of war and conflict, in the 9th house. What this does is, when Mars is in the 9th house, he becomes very ideological, even a zealot in some ways, yeah? Because this is the warrior in the house that deals with religion. So he will see in many ways that his vision that he's trying to embody, this dark vision, he wants to almost impose that on America and the wider world. Yeah, because Mars is what? The warrior. Now, when Mars is strong, he has the virtue of the noble warrior. So when he's in Aries or when he's in Leo, or, to an extent, Leo, Duck Larange has got Mars in Leo, and his Mars is very dodgy, but mainly it's because of Duck Larange's moon is the way that he is. But when Mars is strong, this can show engineering, strategy, and all this stuff. But here, look, Mars is in an enemy sign. It's in Virgo. Now, I don't know about his brothers, but if he's got brothers, some of them may have issues with their health. Yeah, this is something that I've just seen. Whenever Mars is in sidereal Virgo, the brother always has some kind of health problems or stuff. Always a doctor, it works in medicine and all that kind of stuff. So here you've got it in ideology, but also as well, his Mars is in the nakshatra, which is called Hasta, and Hasta deals with hands. But guess what? The shadow of Hasta is manipulation. Oh, do we see these themes, how they're coming together for entertainment purposes only? But do you see where this is going? So there's that. But look at this 10th house. We need to talk about this 10th house. It is packed and it's in Libra. And in here, he has got Venus, he's got Mercury, he's got Saturn and Neptune. Oh, wow, what a combo. First of all, this Venus is extremely strong. This Mercury is extremely strong. When anyone's got Venus and Mercury in Libra, now remember this happens quite often in the sense of their orbits are very close to each other. But this is very powerful, gives an extreme gift for communication. Yeah, it's a real gift for communication. Now, I'm not saying this is good or bad, whatever. I'm just saying he has this gift. But it's not just that. His Saturn is also in Libra, which means it's exalted. But there, look, Neptune. What is the shadow side of Neptune? Lies, gaslighting, illusions, the unreal appearing real. Now, here as well, this also shows that actually Bannon is actually quite a cultured person. Yeah, he's quite a cultured person. I'll give him that. When you've got that many planets in Libra, you're going to be interested in things, like that. Culture, ideas. Libra is all about discussion, debate, ideas. Even deals a lot with conflict, actually. Yes, yeah, Brenda C. Rasputin, but a modern day one. Absolutely. He really is a Rasputin, particularly with this combination. Because here, Venus is strong, and she's what? Planet of what? The arts, culture. Deals with beauty and luxury, yeah? Mercury is what? One of her best friends. There was a communications of all kinds, business. So you see they're strong. Then Saturn is there, which is a friend to them. Now, Saturn starves whatever planet he's with. This is one thing you should know, even his friends. So even though these planets here are quite strong, they are also being starved, but they are quite far away. So what it means is he has a gift for media and communication, obviously, because he was one of these advisors and stuff like that. But that Neptunian energy is in there as well. So it means if a person with this combination chooses to lie, they become an extremely talented liar. Yeah, Neptune is also about talent. Mercury is about talent as well. So here we've got someone who's very talented, but they're using their energy in, for maybe more nefarious means. And the 10th house is what? Career, deals with government. Look, I'll just read off. I've read it off before, but here we are. 10th house deals with public duties, career, presidents, yeah, reputation, bosses, fame, father's wealth, honors, vocation, purpose, status, government, authority figures, highest achievements. So we see here his 10th house is overloaded. This is someone that's interested in status and power, rubbing shoulders. yeah, with the people that make the big decisions. He is a big decision maker as well, because we know now what's coming out through the grapevine that he influenced a tremendous amount of Duck LaRange's policies. Remember what I said about Libra? Libra's got a lot to do with the law, lawyers, and judges, all of that kind of discourse. And it's where it practically happens. So here we see someone who has a practical application for ideas, concepts, and the law, and maybe even trying to change laws. Look what's happening with all the stuff to do with voting. Remember, this Neptune here is also powerful. It's the higher octave of Venus. So there is an element here where he even almost certainly he has an interest in a passion for music. Almost certainly. Music and literature, painting, without a doubt. Yeah, without a doubt. You know, he's probably even read 1 or 2 books on Nazi art. But anyway, that's another topic for entertainment purposes only. You know what I mean? It wouldn't shock me. That's the kind of thing that this kind of person will be interested in, because even though someone can have this wicked streak, they can still be interested in culture. You know, we need to remember beauty is universal. You know, everyone likes a painting to look at. Some of the most wicked people have some of the best art collections in the world, but that's another subject. So here we've got someone who is aware of history. Marga also deals with history, and I forgot to say, these 2 planets here, Pluto and Moon, are in Magha. But isn't it funny that Make America Great Again, MAGA, all that's missing is the H. Astrology can sometimes be as literal as that. Yeah, so there's elements there. And when we look at his 11th house, which is rubbing shoulders with people and networks and all kinds, look at that. He has got the sun in Scorpio. Isn't it interesting when we do these political readings, how much Scorpio actually comes up? So there's those elements there. Now, what can I say before I move on to a little bit of tarot that I also found interesting? Also as well, here in his second half of live chart, you can see he has got Mercury with Pluto in the 8th house. So there's that 8th house theme that is always there playing out with him. All right, folks, shall we do a bit of tarot? Yeah, shall we do a little bit? Let's do a little bit of tarot in regards to Steve Bannon. Yeah, and what might be happening with him. Because look at that, 53 minutes already. So let's see what's going on. And if I've got time, let's do a little bit on Brian Laundrie. But let's ask Spirit, what is going on? What is the energy? Hello, Gene Rogers, saying hi back to you. Joe Schmo is saying maybe he wanted to resurrect the Nazi occult. You know what? I would almost... I have to be careful. I have to be careful. This is YouTube and this is a public video. Let's just say you're onto something. Yeah, when we think of that chart, yeah, because I can't, do you know what I mean? I can't say that publicly, if you know what I mean. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge, for entertainment purposes only. But when we put that together, yeah, I think you're onto something. All right, Spirit, what can you tell us about Bannon? What can you tell us about Bannon? Let's do a little camera move here and just jazz it up for you guys so you can see my hands. I love doing this stuff. Oh, now my computer's decided to wake up rather than crash. All right, Spirit, what can you tell us about Steve Bannon? What's the energy around Steve Bannon and this criminal doodahs? Oh, look at that. Things are going to be moving quickly for him. Wow. Wow, things are going to be moving quickly for him. It's all speeding up. Oh, look at that. Look, then the Empress. Oh my God, intrigues. God, do I even need to shuffle? Let's just see if it comes back. Let's see if it comes back, because I like to have a good shuffle. Right, anyway, okay, Spirit. What is going on with Steve Bannon? What's going to be happening around him in the next few weeks at this interesting time in his career? And also as well, Saturn and Jupiter are both in his first house with Pluto right now. Yeah, so that affects things as well. All right, Spirit. Which card is next? 5 cards. All right, let's do that one. Go. What's the next one? Pick that one there. Next card. All right, here we go. Let's see what Spirit has to say. All right, let's do a little turn over here. Ah, juggling. Look, it's back. It's back. Ah, respect. Moon. Ah, here we go. All right, folks, this is very clear. Yeah, this is very clear. What's Brenda C saying? The beautiful thing is that it's us, we see the craziness, and so did our ancestors in the Second World War. Yeah, I certainly hope so. Right. I asked about Steve Bannon. What's the energy around him for the next few weeks? Look at that. He's trying to juggle. Oh my God. Yeah, he is juggling like anything. Spirits Beyond is saying the January 6th committee will never hold Trump accountable. There will be no preparations for Trump January 6th committee. Let's see. One that would take Trump down, would it be the AG of New York? Yeah, we will have to see. We'll have to see how it goes. But this is what's going on with, oh, hi Marie's tape. Oh, is Marie here? Oh, Marie, sorry, I may have missed you. If you're here, thanks so much for joining in. I really appreciate that. So look, Bannon is weighing things up. He's juggling. He's trying to figure out what to do because he knows he's in a little bit of pickle. And here we are. And also as well, we see here the boats here dealing with things overseas. So Bannon's going to be talking with his allies. Yeah, anyone that knows him that can potentially help him. But what's his obstacle? The obstacle is that things have suddenly sped up. Now, do you remember what I was saying? I've been saying for a while. I said very clearly, I said, when Saturn starts moving direct and Jupiter, things are going to suddenly start moving forward for people. And that's what's been happening, hasn't it? Saturn moved direct. When did Saturn move direct? Sorry. Digression, folks. Just so you know, I gave you those details. Saturn started moving direct on the 11th of October. And then Jupiter started going direct between the 17th and 18th of October. And suddenly people were in the hot seat. Yeah. Does it mean everyone's going to be locked up just like how they should be? Not necessarily. But look, stuff is speeding up. When we look here, he has got the Two of Wands in reverse. So this is about making plans. Yeah. It's about making plans, prospecting. Do you see looking out with the globe in his hands? Like someone was mentioning Cambridge Analytica. But look, it's reversed. He's waiting for the ship to come in, but he feels stuck. He's feeling stuck right now because, you know, things have gummed up in the works and he's obviously, you know, he's in a bit of hot water. What else is there? We have a major arcana. We've got the moon. Yeah. So the moon, of course, is intrigue, secrets. Secrets could be coming out about his overseas prospecting or things connected therein. So the moon is there. Things are hidden when by moonlight. We don't see things clearly necessarily. But look at this. His outcome card is justice. It's justice reversed. When justice is the right way up, this is about a fair judgment, essentially. A fair judgment. It can deal with kind of like court and stuff, but it's basically in your favor. When it's reversed, this is when you get the book thrown at your head. Yeah? Bannon is going to have the book thrown at him by the looks of it. I mean, we'll see if he can get out of this, but unlikely. Now, obviously, this guy, he's already would have planned for all this stuff. Maybe he is prepared to go to jail for a little while for the cause. He might martyr, you know, make himself a martyr, and it may even add, sadly, it may even add to his appeal for some people. So just because he gets locked up, it doesn't necessarily mean it's the end. But this card here would definitely indicate that there is something going on there in that sense, and legally things are moving forward. So he's in the hot seat right now for the next few weeks at least, and we will see what happens. But it looks like some judgment is going to come down against him. But I also suspect as well that if the jail term is not too long, he will do it in order to become like this martyr and write his own book. I bet you any money, if he goes down, he'll write his own book in there to have his version of Mein Kampf. I bet you any money with that kind of chart that he's got. That's the kind of thing. Let's do a quick 3-card pull on laundry. It's the energy around laundry. Do I want to do that? I don't think I do, actually. I don't think I do. I don't think I should. Because if he has been found, and if that's his body, let's leave it there. Yeah, because the spirit needs to transition and all that kind of stuff. We've already pulled on laundry and those cards weren't so great. So what I'll do is I'll leave it there. I'll leave it there. You know, this is something that we can explore, of course, later on. Guys, it has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your comments, but the time has gone. Can you believe it? What's someone saying here? Justice in reverse. Justice in reverse. Looking at the past, it will come back, kind of bite you in the you know what. Yes, warrior girl. That's true. That's true. There is that as well. But also as well, when it's reversed, it means a harsh judgment as well. It means like literally you're going down, that kind of thing. So, folks, the hour has whipped by. Thank you so much for joining. Thank you so much to the new members as well. A couple of you have just joined. It is next to the subscribe button, and you can read all the benefits there. I really, really appreciate that. As you know, I'm going to be taking a little break, even though I love doing these lives, Wednesdays lives. 9 o'clock is a lot easier. I was doing them at 5 to 12 before. Put any requests in the comments, not necessarily here in the dialogue, but in the comments below the videos, and then I can see what they are, of what you might potentially like next. And I may do some like uploads and stuff like that. But I'm just thinking I really, particularly with my recent episode with my eyes, which are now back to normal, thank goodness, that end of that Mercury retrograde, I do want to make sure that I'm looking after my health, that I'm, you know, staying grounded and that I'm not working too much. And when you do a YouTube, it is kind of like a 7-day-a-week job, believe it or not. I know we make it look so easy, don't we? But no, it is a lot. And I feel like Wednesdays I should be getting a bit of rest, just to make sure that things are all good, because we know we need to look after our health, and I want to be able to keep making these videos and these shows going into the future. So I will leave it there. Thank you everyone so much for joining me tonight. So I wasn't able to read every kind of comment, but we had a lot of breaking news. There were over 200 of you today as well, which is great. Lovely for a Wednesday. And I will see you soon. Leave comments in under the video of what you would like in the future, potentially for me to look at. And I can look at maybe doing recorded videos and publish them on a Wednesday or something like that. But I will also use Wednesdays for lives and collaborations and all of those kind of things. In fact, actually, I need to get in touch with Lena. We're overdue a little collab, so that will be great. Anyway, thank you, everyone. Much love, and I will see you all soon. And of course, don't forget Hodaiga on Saturday. Yeah, so you'll see me again with Saturday with the wonderful Lady G and the wonderful Diane. So until next time, folks, see you soon. All right, thank you.